How's it going, everyone? So today, my name is Charlie, and I will be using different methods to help students develop a better understanding of history. World history itself is a very large topic and very difficult to try to cover the entire history. We could do that, right? That's like we're going back millions of years, right? So it is almost nearly impossible to really fully grasp history or world history. So in this short talk, I'll give some examples of some methods that could help enable students to learn about, world history, but mainly focus on certain periods in history. As stated earlier, world history is a topic that is way too broad to cover, even for a single person. Most people who specialize in history tend to specialize in a certain time period, part of history, not the entire thing. Like we have history of like China, on history of China, many different parts of South America, things such as that. Like people that are really good at specialize in the Roman Empire, or even like the tribes of Germany back before the Roman Empire. Well, now imagine trying as a teacher. Imagine trying to get grade 8 or 9s to understand the higher timeline of the Roman Empire. That's pretty difficult, especially if they have no clue what the Roman Empire is. They've never done any research on it. It'd be very difficult for them to do. Yeah, so it's also very difficult because as teachers, you only have so much time to work on certain topics or certain things because you got other things. So the best way, in my opinion, would be giving them assignments and projects that would help with learning topics that allows students to understand the subject that that they're working on. So for starters, projects like maps and timelines are great for students learning history, especially history that has a long or complex timeline. We're talking things like history or timeline of China, Japan, maybe a little bit more advanced, but something on the lines of that. The Roman Empire, the Athens War, Greek itself, that right? So having students tag and map out particular regions allows for spatial and engage students with writing and memorization. It also gives them that area looked. It also allows students to, not only understand but to ask questions about certain locations, like, oh, why is this piece of land kind of messed up around the borders here? Well, maybe because there was an ongoing war, they lost that piece of land, things like that, right? And disputes. Don't forget about the disputes as well. When it comes to creating timeline projects, it's relatively simple, but just get the kids to get the dates, put them in order. But it pretty much engages the students in writing and memorization of dates, but also gives students an in-depth look at dates and what things lead to other things. Kind of like this thing happened, so because this happened, this also happened, right? So it's like a little domino effect, but we already know what's gonna happen because it's in the history, it's in the past, right? Another method that would be getting students to write reflective assignments about events and time history. This allows students to read, learn, and write about the assigned historical period and reflect on positive, negative, and neutral experiences. Yeah, so just relatively another simple one, but it also these things are really easy, as well as they're great for getting students to really engage, get the students brain going on. Oh, so this is a pretty good thing. This is a bad thing. What could a nation have done better in the past? Things like that. And the final one is probably my all-time favorite, is setting up debates that would get students to either support, defend, argue, even pretend or be assigned a country and then have to defend the country, try to make reasonable reasonable things, right? Of course, this one I would say for grade 8s, grade 9s, or any grades really. This one would be a little bit more difficult for the younger students. Last thing that you would want as teachers is students screaming at each other, like, oh, you're being dumb, it's a dumb idea. it's like, you know, laughing at each other instead of supporting or defending. So it is a bit more of a harder one to really get going, but if it like once it does get rolling, it does like this is what you want it to do, right? This is what you want it to set up. This is how you imagine it. And you actually get those things going. It could get really like pretty interesting, like many debates, right? I just really enjoyed doing this when I was in school. I actually enjoyed doing all this when I was in school. So I took a lot of these from when growing up in high school. Um, yeah, but again, get past all of like the young students yelling at each other and stuff like that. Debates could lead to a better understanding of why certain events, why certain events escalate to where they are now, and why the world is the way it is now, right? So yeah, so that's pretty much it. So we covered up around, let's say, 4 methods. We got, creating maps, or mapping out certain events and timelines. And then we got the timelines, like time periods, like dates itself. I guess those two would go hand in hand. Next up we have is reflective assignments, or writing reflective assignments, things along the lines of that. Again, probably could get a little bit more creative with it. Create something that's a little bit broad for, not broad, sorry, a little bit more, I guess more fun, more, yeah, just I'll let you guys do the creative work with that one. And the final one will be debates. Again, you could either say like, hey, I'm with you guys a topic, you guys could defend it, you guys could kind of argue against it, stuff like that, argue for it, or you guys could, teachers, you guys could assign students to certain countries, like for example, again, I'm just kind of thinking with students being on their age, they might not like being part of a certain nation, so things like that. But again, once everyone gets past all that stuff, gets past all the maturity, and really kind of step forward with debates, it does get really good. So yeah, I can't, that's one thing that I might be a little bit worried about. But I think, like, again, like nowadays, like kids are so much more, they understand, right? So that shouldn't be too much of an issue, right? Again, there's so many ways that we could use different methods to really help students develop better understanding of world history. And it's not just them having to get creative with answers and creating great projects or whatever, but it's also like us as want to be teachers or soon to be teachers that really have to make it fun for the kids and have it like create a really good engagement, so that they know, like, hey, like this is pretty fun, right? This is pretty cool, and things like that. Well, that pretty much ends my time here talking to an empty audience, but hopefully you guys at home listening, you guys have a great day. I hope everything that I said kind of made sense a little bit. Love to take any criticism on any of the ideas, any comments at all, just that'd be great. Just comment down below. And yeah, thanks again once again. Well, that's all. Thanks once again for listening to the short talk about different methods for teaching world history, and I hope you all have a great day. Thank you, guys.